Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take a look at Chapter 11.3, Use and Abuse of Test, okay, the hypothesis test. There's no math involved here. It's having an understanding of the situation. So some experience is helpful for Chapter 11.3 in your real lives. It's really important, folks, that you read this chapter. Okay, make sure you read it very carefully, especially the examples, and try to use the Khan Academy for extra support on this. All right, so we're going to just look at one example. Again, there's no math here. You'll understand as we look at it. So before I go to that example, let's look at the use and abuse of tests. Okay, these are right out of your book, starting with the first one. Okay, there is no sharp border between statistical significant and statistically insignificant. Only increasing strong evidence as the p-value decreases. Remember, we're setting that alpha value, and depending upon our p-value, we're going to make a decision. You might get a p-value of 4.9%. Well, that's less than 5%. That means it's significant because you're basing it on that 5%. It was less than, so it's significant. But you might get a p-value of 5.1%. Well, you know, there's not a lot of difference there, but that alpha level that you're setting is we're making a decision based on that, okay? So statistically significant and statistically insignificant depends upon the situation and that p-value, okay? All right, looking at the blue now. Statistically insignificant is not the same thing as practical importance. Okay, the green one. The foolish user of statistics who feeds the data into a calculator or computer without exploratory analysis will often be embarrassed. And the last one. Often we must analyze data that do not arise from randomized samples or experiments. Remember that randomization is so important. To apply statistical inference to such data, we must have confidence in the use of probability to describe the data. Talk about using data, okay? What's going on in the world right now with the coronavirus? Analyzing the data. I just got done watching Governor Walz talk, and schools are now going to be online learning until at least May, what was it, 2nd, May 4th, somewhere in there. So we've got a good 6 weeks of this for sure. All right, so we're just going to look at one problem here. Here it is. Okay, we're going to read this newspaper article. Think about the situation that's going on right now in the world, right here in Minnesota. It's happening, okay? There's newspaper articles, there's data all over the place. All right, so here we go. Depression pill seems to help smokers quit. Okay, Boston. Taking an antidepressant medication or medicine appears to double smokers' chance of kicking the habit, a study found. The Food and Drug Administration approved the marketing of this medicine and called Zyban or bupropion to help smokers in May. The results of several studies with the drug, including one published in today's issue of the New England Journal of Medicine, we made public then. All right, sorry, I really botched that paragraph. All right, the newly published study was conducted on 615 volunteers who wanted to give up smoking and who were not outwardly depressed. They took either Zyban or dummy pill, placebo, for 6 weeks. A year later, 23% of those getting Zyban were still off cigarettes, compared with 12% in the comparison group. All right, so number one, the results of the experiment were significant at the alpha 0.05 significance level. In your opinion, are the results practically significant? Justify your position. Okay, so let's see what an answer could look like here. All right. So first, you could say, although there was significant evidence that the population of those taking Zyban who successfully quit smoking was higher than that proportion of those taking the placebo, and although approximately twice as many taking Zyban quit as compared with those taking the placebo, it is true that more than 3/4 of those taking a new drug were not successful in quitting smoking. That's a 77% failure rate. Accordingly, the argument can be made that the results are not practically important. Okay, what does that look like? Well, you could argue this. On the other hand, other smoking cessation programs have had very poor success rates, fewer than 5%. And the evidence here does suggest that Zyban will help about 1 in 4 who want to quit. Consequently, these results are practically important. All right, so there's an argument both ways. Okay. All right, let's look at the next question. To what population can the result of this study be generalized? Okay, well, again, back up here, it says that 615 volunteers who wanted to give up smoking. Okay, let's see what an answer would look like here. All right, here we go. Because the study used volunteers who wanted to give up smoking and who were not outwardly depressed, no generalization can be made to a population. It's volunteers, folks. Ideally, a randomly selected sample should be used. All right, let's look at the next one. Number 3. Can we conclude that taking Zyban causes people to quit smoking? Justify your answer. All right, let's take a look. Okay, sorry about this. It's not supposed to be doing it this way. And, all right. All right, I'll just leave number 4 up there for now. All right, so despite being volunteers, as long as the subjects were randomly assigned to the treatment or the placebo group, a cause and effect conclusion can be made. Okay, again, let's look at what that was. Can we conclude that taking Zyban causes people to quit smoking? Justify your answer. Despite being volunteers, as long as the subjects were randomly assigned to the treatment or the placebo group, a cause and effect conclusion can be made. All right, last one. In performing a test of significance, the researcher can choose between adopting a fixed significance level or calculating a p-value. Does it matter which approach is taken? If so, describe the circumstances when one should use each approach. All right, answer. Typically, a fixed significance level alpha is adopted when a decision must be made. Example, when a company must make a decision about an expensive upgrade of equipment, or when gathering evidence to present in a court case where the accepted significance level is alpha 0.05. A p-value is calculated when one wants to assess the strength of the evidence provided by a sample against a null hypothesis. All right, again, I'm going to stress, read the other examples in the book, think about what's going on in this chapter, the use and abuse of tests. Think about today. Okay, today is, gotta look, today is March 25th, Wednesday, March 25th. The governor just got done talking, folks. He had to make a huge decision, and that decision was on the evidence. Okay, if you've been watching the news, you're seeing that curve. And in his briefing today, he's trying to flatten that curve a little bit so that we do have enough intensive care unit ventilators available for when we do reach that peak. So he's put all of this stuff into place so that we're moving the peak, but it's giving Minnesota time to get the ventilators that they need, so we don't have more people that need ventilators than the number of ventilators we have. It's an interesting time right now. So Again, read the chapter. We'll be having class discussion or class office hours if you need it. We'll talk to you later. Good luck.